Hey y'all, I'm gonna go through Is She Really Going Out With Him? Another one that was a hit from my youth. 79, I think that came out, 79, 80, it was a hit. Let's go through it, some interesting kind of chords that we'll talk through. And it's in, of course, it can't be in a regular key, it has to be in B flat, but we'll get to that in a minute. Alright, the other thing is, in terms of strum, you're on the offbeat. And we'll talk about that when we get to that little section, which is different and requires, for me anyway, a little bit of discipline. So it starts with this. Okay, so you start with the D minor to E flat, and you could do it as E flat 6. I don't know what that is, but it's all of them from A across an 8. So you kind of go through them with the E string 2 frets up and then off. That's B at 11. Back to that high E string again. B flat, F, A flat, back to E flat, but you're not going. You're not doing that. That's the temptation, is to fill it up. But it's not. The bass is doing the real work there, and you're just kind of stabbing. Do, 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 do. And then on the last one. Women are walking through the street. Can't even do it. And then look over there. You know, all that. I think there's 4 of those. Those are all major chords. It's almost like time won't change me, but I can't trace time. Now if you could do that, what I just did, you can have pretty much the whole song. So after a couple of these, 4 of these, and it stays on that, stays on the E flat to go into the chorus. So when you're done with the verse, is she really going? That chord, the mystery chord, that's an F. And the way to think about that chord, you could actually do it as a full 5, or all 6 strings. The way to think about that chord, at least the way I think about it, is you take a C, if you were to finger a C like this, instead of the typical, but finger with these fingers. Now move that up to C sharp, and it doesn't work, although that is a cool chord. The G and E strings are open, so you have to cover those at the 1st fret behind the fingered chord, right? Just like down here, the nut is doing that. The nut is covering it. So when you move it up, you got to replace the nut on those 2 strings. Now you're up to D. Now you're up to E. So that's A is at 8, D7, G5, B6, high E5. So any chord, any first position chord you play, you can play anywhere up the neck, just like you do with the bar. That's the same thing you're doing with the bar E chord. You're just on this G chord, if you bar a G, your finger's just replacing the nut, right? An E is a barred chord, except the nut is your finger, your barred finger. So you could do it with A. Same thing. Your barred finger is replacing the nut. Well, you could do it with D. What you could do with C. You could do it with D. And watch what happens when you do it with D. D is right here. You don't go behind it to do a D chord. You figure out the John Lennon D chord, right? So you put if you're doing a D, put the D string at the 4th fret. Now you can move that one up. So if I want to move this all the way up to F, really going up. I could do it like that. Except I want, this is an F. My A string at, what is that, the 8th fret, is an F note. Right? So I want that note in it. Okay, well then I can do exactly that same chord, except I have to finger it differently so I can hit this note on the A. So I finger it like this. And I could do, if I want, I'm not going to, I could do the A string at the 5th fret and have all 6 strings in it. That's an F. So you can either think of that as a D brought up here or as a C brought up here, but the fingering's the same either way you do it. So again, trying to get you to think about mentally as you move chords up the neck, think of them as cowboy chords just moved up the neck. That's really what the first position chords are, the foundation really for exploring the fretboard. So now we've explained the intricacies of that chord. You're going B flat, E flat. Is she really gonna take D minor 7? G minor, G minor, F, E flat. Is she really going? The second time through, is she really going? All the way across at 10 into a G minor. But my eyes don't deceive me, there's something going wrong around here. So that's eyes don't deceive me, E flat to F. Something going wrong around here. Now the rest of it goes through that whole sequence again. And then the only thing that's different is when it goes to like the middle A part. Alright, and that part's easier than it sounds, easier than it looks. D minor, D minor to E flat, all the way across at 8. The next one after all the way across at 8 is all the way across at 10, except the B string is at 13. And then high E, then back to that B. Again. of going back there, it just goes back and forth between those last two. And then back to the beginning. From the intro. Something going wrong around here. Around here. Something going wrong around here. I think it just ends on. It might even not even do that last one. Cool chords in that, and a nice little tasty guitar part, filling in the gaps. Good luck.